So the SuperTrak's 170. It's a Cat 908 with a twin turbo 170 horsepower power unit behind it. Built custom at SuperTrak's down in Punta Gorda, Florida. Is it the mulching skid steer replacement? Let's go find out. So we had the opportunity to go down there, shoot some footage, and see exactly how the SK170 is built. And guess what I found out? They built the entire thing from scratch. I was under the impression that they would just get a 908 and swap out an engine and like call it a day. And that's not the case at all. It comes in with its own frame. So they buy the frame from Caterpillar, they powder coat that frame, then they begin building it. What I also found out is that every single little hose fitting, all the way up to the computer, they build themselves. They engineer and design themselves in-house under the SuperTrak's roof. This is an incredible machine. I'm very, very impressed with it. What I also found out is that it's still within Gooseneck transport. So this is still a machine that you can ride behind a dually, F250, be pushing it, probably a little overloaded, but you get the point. This is not an 18-wheeler transporter. This is a machine that, in my opinion, is probably a really good contender for a replacement on a skid steer. They're claiming a 10,000 hour lifespan. Even if it was only 5,000 hours, it would still be a hell of a deal compared to its counterpart, a tracked skid. Now, that's the obvious part. There's no tracks on this guy, but it does have some pretty gnarly mud tires on this guy. It's got a winch on the back of it. They build a power management computer that literally goes up in the cab. They build pretty much everything from scratch. But the unique thing about it is the financials behind this machine. This guy, equipped out like this, brand new, is about 285 grand out the door, give or take, because of steel embargoes and all that other type of stuff. The Caterpillar prices aren't exactly consistent and constant. But basically, the machine itself is $250,000, and then the head for this thing is somewhere between 35 all the way up to maybe 45. The biggest selling point on the SK170 is production, hands down. If your typical skid steer in Southwest Florida, in my area, is seeing an acre a day of production, and you think that this thing's gonna get 2.5 to 3 acres a day, it's 3 times the production. You're gonna get twice the lifespan, but you're also paying twice the cost for it. But you don't have 2 skids out there, 2 operators out there, and you're not flipping a skid every 2,500 hours. You can kind of commit to this thing for 5,000. Maybe get 10,000 out of it, I don't know. Maybe there are guys out there, comment below. You're like, dude, I wouldn't run this past 3,000 hours. Like, I don't know. But what I do know is that this is not quite a dedicated, and it's definitely not a skid steer. And what I do know is in the forestry mulching side of the business, of the landscape business, because it's all vegetation, we're all basically just mowing vegetation. Whether it's lawns or trees, it's still vegetation. It's just how long has that bitch been growing. So, in the tree mowing business, it kind of makes sense. The more dedicated you get, the more power you get, you just see the number gaps get huge. If the SK is to the skid steer, and then SK to Barco is even bigger. Barco to skid steer is not even in the same class. So the higher you can go up on the machine, keeping the operator at 1 and changing out the machine, the better. This gets you in between those 2 points. It gets you from skid steer to Barco or dedicated or whatever, but maybe you still have landscape customers. Maybe you do snow blowing. Maybe you do, I don't know, farming activities. You need a freaking way to put some attachments on your situation. That's the machine. Like, hands down. Especially if you want to be versatile. The downside to a dedicated unit is it mulches. It makes hydraulic flow. And it mulches. That's what it does. So the SK170, is it a skid steer replacement? I think so. Is it a little bit more than twice the cost? Yup. Does it do 3 times the rate of production? That's what they say. Do I buy it? I think so. So for a guy moving from a skid steer on his way to a dedicated, but still has some landscape clients, still has some other tasks he needs to do with one machine, it's probably the guy. This could be the long-term solution. If nothing else, it's cool as hell.